Thanks for coming to our second whiteboard session. Thank you, Big Cat, for the awesome breakfast. Who doesn't like bacon? All right, we're going to jump right into it. We don't have too many changes in terms of structure at the gym. We're adding our 8 a.m. for the weekends, starting next weekend. Okay, so our early birds can get in. I'll jump right into the changes. Our next cycle for about 6 weeks here is going to be Oli, Olympic weightlifting. Okay, so starting with our strength. So, first pillar is strength. All right. So in the last cycle, we developed raw power, right? If you're coming regularly, back squats, strict press. Okay. We got a ton of PRs in both lifts. It was awesome. So our strength's increased, but now it's time to convert that strength to power. Because in the real world, strength is great, but really, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be running, jumping, explosive movements. Okay. So now we're going to be doing Olympic lifting. This is our primary strength. So convert strength to power, right? So the primary way to do that is cleans, snatch, Olympic lifts, jerks. Okay. So we're going to be doing that stuff for reps now. Primarily, in the past, we've been doing a lot of technique work. Okay. Now it's going to be actual sets of full cleans, or if we can have power cleans, stuff like that. Okay. Gymnastics. We're going to take a break from the progressions. Okay, nothing wrong with them, we still love them, but we're going to deviate a bit. I realize that there's some, across the board, some issues we want to address, and that is if you go into a beginner's gymnastics class at a gymnast place, what are they going to do? They're going to work on your core a ton. They're going to teach you how to tumble, okay? Because what the heck's the point of going into a handstand if you don't know how to come out of it, okay? So we're going to work on core strength a lot. We're going to drill in the hollow position, okay? So that's right here. And do that a lot. Teach you guys how to do it. Do drills to strengthen that position, because that's the basics of all gymnastics movements, is that hollow position. It's going to help with everything in CrossFit. Okay, so we're really going to do that. Slash core. We're going to learn to tumble. And that'll be fun. Some different things like rolling forward, over the shoulder roll, cartwheels, that kind of stuff. We're also going to do some accessory strength, some different stuff like pull-ups, handstand push-ups, dips. We've been doing a lot of just banded stuff. Okay, now we're going to do some negatives or some isometric holds. It's going to stimulate the muscle differently to help strength. So. Sorry if you can't read that, but you get the gist. And then our Oli section, our Olympic weightlifting. This will still be technique-based, but it's going to be changed up a bit. So we'll have some accessory movements, so like high pulls to really ingrain the different pulls. Now that the gym is kind of used to the Olympic stuff, we're going to start training it a little more in depth. Okay. We'll do some like snatch grip deadlifts, clean grip deadlifts to strengthen the legs. Okay. We'll still do some different position work. So we're used to every position: the power, the hang, and then from the floor. So. Pulling technique. Position work. Now for the jerk, we'll be doing push press, push jerk, and then split. Metcons, our conditioning is going to be more of the same. We like intense, short intense. 10 to 12 minutes is our go-to range. We'll have some longer ones and some shorter ones. But bread and butter is really that push really hard for 10 minutes, 12 minutes, okay? We should be like on the floor dead after an intense workout. So if you stand up and you're walking around, you're like, oh, I'm ready for more. You probably weren't pushing hard enough. Maybe the weight was too heavy or too light. Okay, so try to give you good percentages to really get an intended stimulus of the workout. Okay. For our extra stuff, our endurance, last cycle was anaerobic training, so short, intense bursts. On the rower, this time it's going to be distance running, so the goal will be to increase our 1 mile trial time. Okay. So we're going to do different variations of 2 mile runs, 5Ks, 800 meters. Okay. So for anyone who's a little more advanced, we have our supplemental. Okay. So supplemental strength is going to be transferring some of our last cycle into this one. So we just spent 6 weeks getting our back squat and our press up. We don't want to lose that. Okay, there's still going to be some of that, a little bit different, but we still want to maintain our strength that we developed. Okay, and then we're going to have some fun stuff now that's nice outside: tire flips, sled drags, isometric carries, okay, holding a lot of weight, really get the core and the muscles firing. Okay. Supplemental gymnastics, that's going to be focusing on strengthening our pull-ups, dips, and handstand push-ups, so just different variations. So we might do like a burnout of wide grip pull-ups, then go to normal grip, and then narrow grip, or tempo, that sort of more advanced stuff. And then our supplemental Oli. Again, more technique work. Overhead squats, front squats. Any questions on any of that stuff? No? You sure? Okay. We're going to have a new challenge this month, our monthly challenge. Okay. Last month it was max calories in the month. This month it's going to be, or this coming month, so for June, it's going to be accumulate 1,000 double unders. Okay. If you break it down, that's about 30 a day. That's realistic. If you're coming 3 days a week, it's about 50, 60 a day. So we're going to have to learn how to do them. We can't do them yet, right? So we got to start practicing those. And then for anyone who accumulates the 1,000, it's going to be kind of honor code here. You're going to be thrown in a raffle to win. Okay. That's it for me. Corin's going to hop up and talk about some of the warm-up. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Next cycle is that we're going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about our stretching. We've had a couple people ask us about our stretching and why we do certain things when we warm up. This last cycle was a lot of strength cycle, a lot for our back squats and our overhead presses. So a lot of times they seemed a little bit redundant when we were doing some of these stretches every day. But we're trying to strengthen those shoulder joints and the hip joints. They're the biggest joint that we have. They move in all directions, and we need to make sure that those smaller stabilizer muscles are strong enough so that when we're doing these heavy loads, we don't lose it and our joint doesn't shift out of where it needs to be. So I've noticed a lot of you guys, and I don't know if you've seen it, but when we've done some of our stretches, like the banded YTWs that we do every day, you guys were all fighting over those less strength bands, the yellows, the reds, and then as we got to the end, everybody was fighting over the black band and the green band, the ones that were tougher, because you guys were strengthening those stabilizers in our shoulder and able to control that joint so that when we went overhead with heavy loads, we weren't risking injuring that joint because we don't want to give up strength or mobility. We want to develop them together. So as we go into this ollie lift cycle, things will start changing a little bit more because we need to focus on some different things, but some are still the same. We still want to make sure that that core strength in our joints is there. A lot of these exercises, like I said, seem redundant, but just like anything, when you're doing a back squat the same, you set up the same, you're going to get the perfect lift or the perfect squat. So a lot of those core strengths that we believe in are still going to be in there. We're going to start involving a couple different things though. You guys, a lot of you did the wheelbarrow partner carries down. That was a little fun, but that was a huge shoulder endurance exercise for the person who was walking, so we can get towards that gymnastics of handstand walks. Some of us are going to do different things as coaches. You're going to see some of our exercises might not be exactly the same. Jason might do something a little bit different than I do, but as long as we get that core strength and building up and warming up that movement, they're not wrong. They're just a different way of doing it. The biggest thing about warming up in the beginning, we call it our dynamic stretching. I know we put this out there before for some people and kind of explain the difference. We don't want our muscle to get lax when we're warming up. We want it to get ready to fire. So by doing these movements where we only hold them for a second or two, then we're waking that muscle up. We're waking that joint up, getting it ready to work. When we mobilize and stretch after a workout, when we hold those long positions, we're kind of getting that muscle to relax and lengthen. We don't want to do that before we work out because that's going to kind of slow that contractile force, and that's where all our power comes from. So dynamic movements before a workout get us ready to go, warm up that T-spine, the shoulder joint, the hip joint, and get us ready. Stretching and mobilization after workout, going to lengthen, and we're going to increase that range of motion. So we're going to develop both of them together. We've got to remember that when we're going through. Okay. Since we've had a couple questions about our stretches, does anybody have any questions, input, anything they'd like to see, things that they really like? No? All right. Well, that's our stretches.